what type of insurance have you seen like work well?
Yeah,
Or it's
so
like here's like a
disclaimer.
no-brainer. And I know you're going to say disclaimer going, this is
I
not
am
financial
not,
advice, this is not
yeah.
insurance brokering.
Yeah, so
This is just based on
obviously not-
your experience.
just based on what I have seen insurers approve and deny in the past. Landlord insurance is obviously a no-brainer. A lot of our properties are duplexes and units, and for those particular properties, the landlord insurance is like $390 a year. That's it.
A year.
A year. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this should not even be a discussion point of whether you have insurance
yeah,
or
they
not.
don't have to insure the building because that is body corporate. Obviously, if you have a house, you also have to insure the building, but it's not that, hugely extra, obviously depending on the property and how much you want to insure it for, but it's just an absolute no-brainer. I would highly suggest that you look at your insurance policies and speak to your insurance advisors about what they cover, because a lot of the bank's policies, so I had an owner where a tenant, we took over a management and they had just been through QCAT and their bank's policy didn't cover rent loss on their landlord insurance.
It's an investment insurance.
Which is pretty first thing that you should cover. So we have 2 insurance providers who we would recommend to our owners, and they cover specifically landlord related stuff. So pet damage as well is often an optional extra for insurance coverage. So now with pet laws making it difficult for owners to refuse pets, you would want to have pet damage covered.
So be like rent loss, pet damage.
Yeah, and so this is the other funny thing, right? So they have 2 different tenant damages. One is accidental damage and the other is malicious damage. Now, again, we had a property that we took over and the whole, inside the property, every single wall, ceiling, everything was smashed. And you would go, oh, malicious damage, right?
Totally.
It's actually considered accidental damage because unless you have, so this particular insurer, if you are trying to claim malicious damage, they ask you for a police report. So let's say, a non-extreme example, a tenant accidentally puts a hole through a wall, maybe moving furniture or I don't know.
Pulling their fridge out or something
happens,
like that.
You're not going to call the cops for stuff like that. So you need to ensure that accidental damage is covered, not malicious damage.
Right.
So some insurance policies have only malicious damage on there, but in most cases that's nothing unless you're going to call the police. So it's just stuff like that where I have seen owners get caught out and they'll go, oh, I thought malicious damage would cover this, but it doesn't. So we always put them in touch with the insurance professionals and say, look, from our experience, we believe that you need to look at this. And then they go and get advice about it. And most of the time they'll switch to those companies, like the specific landlord insurance companies.
Yeah,
not the banks.
Not the banks, just someone who specialises in just that space.
Yeah. And so if your property manager is following the legal process when things go wrong and you have that insurance in place, whilst you're not getting the money throughout the process, it's highly likely that a lot of it will be covered at the end.
Right.
But it comes down to making we handle all of the insurance claims for our owners as well.
Because I was just about to say, from a property management, that's something that you help and advise. Because as you're explaining all of this, I'm I would have zero time to try and manage that whole entire process. Yeah. That's something
in the cyclone that just happened, for example, for the owners that have the insurance policy with the people that we recommend, we have a portal that we can go on. So the tenants send us the notice of the damage from the cyclone, and we obviously get in contact with the owners and say, this is what happened, depending on your excess and all that jazz. Is it worth claiming? And in most cases it is. A lot of burnt out air conditioning
Yeah.
from the
there's
power
so many of
surge
them.
and stuff.
Yes.
So the tenant sends us the thing. We jump onto the portal. We enter the details, lodge the claim, and it's paid out in 5 days. So
And you're doing all of that.
And we do all of that. And so the tenants get it fixed fast and the owner's not out of pocket apart from whatever the excess is, which is just taken from the settlement claim. It goes into our trust account and then we can get the tradies out there to do the repair. Whereas the properties where the owners have held their own insurance and through the bank or places where we're not affiliated with insurance companies, but we don't have
some
that.
Insurance companies who specialise in investment properties have these portals to help assist that whole entire process, right?
Yeah, because we've got all the information. So for the people outside of that, like we're still waiting on the insurer to get back to the owner to come to us. We then send to the owner sends back to the insurance company, and it's just really disjointed. So there's a lot better ways that you can handle that as well through an agent. So
yeah, that sounds super messy.